I can get you hope. And give you more time. If you help me. So, what's it gonna be? Ant-Man.
Okay, so the first thing we have to talk about is Kang the Conqueror. Played by Jonathan Majors, he's gonna be the new big bad in the MCU, and it's even possible that Scott doesn't survive the encounter with him. This brings to fruition the warning that was given to us by He Who Remains at the end of Loki Season 1. He explained Nathaniel Richards' backstory and how killing him would free the multiverse and variants, but that it would also have a downside to it. The multiverse being opened would usher forth his variants too, and eventually this will lead to a multiversal war. We know Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars are on the horizon, and this movie will very much be setting the stage for those films. Now the variants can be either good or bad, but the latter leads to some of the most evil villains in the entire multiverse. Kang recently had his origin story redone in the phenomenal graphic novel Kang the Conqueror, Only Myself Left to Conquer. In that, a young Nathaniel Richards travelled back in time to explore the past, due to the future basically being at a standstill. Everything was a utopia because of how far humanity and technology had come, and thus people didn't really advance or progress. So he travelled back, and it's here that he encountered a future version of himself in Kang. I don't want to go too in depth on it as this video has a lot of ground to cover, but it basically was about Nathaniel trying to stop himself turning into his older version, and in doing so, he ended up becoming him. He would then watch as he come across himself as a boy, and it created a loop in which he was constantly pushing his younger self down a path of conquering. Jonathan Majors is bringing a lot to the role, and when discussing it with Variety, he said that this will be a warrior version of Kang. The one shown at D23 had a much more extended scene of what we got in the online release, and it had Kang asking him to steal something. This comes off the back of the "what's it gonna be" line that we hear at the end. Now going off the leaks, we have a fair idea of what this is gonna be. According to them, Kang will be after a chair that allows him to travel through the multiverse. Now in the comics he did have a time chair that allowed him to travel through time, but the MCU will switch up the way it operates. We know from the D23 trailer that he's holding Cassie hostage, and Scott will have to potentially get this chair in order to get her back. As He Who Remains said, Kang is a conqueror who will stop at nothing to take over the multiverse. Therefore, getting this chair will allow him to hop from one dimension to the next in order to take over that realm. We've already seen remnants of this, and in Loki we saw a version of Avengers Tower which had Kang on it. It's a bit of a moral quandary, a bit of a quandary mania if you will, because Scott could potentially doom trillions of lives across infinite realities just to save his daughter. Now Kang will be located in the quantum realm, and it seems like Janet has already had experience with this. We'll talk about what this could be later on, but it looks like they're bringing things full circle from Ant-Man and the Wasp. In that when we travelled in the quantum realm, we could see what appeared to be Kang's city, and I believe this is where we'll be venturing in the movie. Kang comes across as a cold-blooded motherfucker, and in the D23 trailer, he actually asks Scott if he'd killed him before. It was one of the best lines in the leak, and sadly it doesn't make it to this, but I'm here to tell you that's what he says, and it's really, really badass. He shakes the scene in a Jonathan Major way, and the costume looks so close to the source material. In that his suit helped him to travel through time, and it also came with a blue face mask that covered his head. I actually think in this that they might be sort of pulling from the way the quantum masks looked in Endgame, and just in the same way they had a blue visor pop over them, this could be used on the helmet too.